Good morning, students. Last time we were discussing about translation. So half of the process of translation we have already talked about. Let's complete this process of translation today. If we take a quick revision, last time what we talked about? We talked about that how the process of translation is initiating. So the first step of process of translation is activation of amino acids. And how these amino acids are activated? These amino acids are going to bind with ATP. They are going to form amino acid AMP complex with the help of an enzyme that is amino acyl tRNA synthetase. Now the second step is this activated amino acid has to go and join. It is going to combine with a specific tRNA and this is known as charging of tRNA. When an amino acid, activated amino acid is going to bind on a tRNA, the tRNA become charged tRNA. Now the third step was when mRNA is going to combine with the smaller subunit of ribosome, the larger subunit and the initiator tRNA are going to bind. That means ribosome activation takes place. Now next is that polypeptide chain is going to form. So during the formation of polypeptide chain, there is going formation of translation initiation complex, and this translation initiation complex is formed by again smaller subunit of ribosome, mRNA, initiator tRNA, larger subunit of ribosome, and various proteins which are known as initiator proteins. They are helping in this process. This is what we have talked about. Now the next step, the second step is elongation step. After initiation, elongation takes place, elongation of polypeptide. What is the situation up to here? The P site. We know larger subunit is having three sites: A site, P site and E site. The P site is acquired by the initiator tRNA that is bringing methionine because it is having anticodons for AUG. AUG is the start codon. So this is present at the P site, but the A site is empty. So the next amino acid that is going to come, it is going to come in the A site, means the next tRNA that is binded with a specific amino acid is going to come in the A site, and peptide bond is going to form. One amino acid is present on the tRNA that is present on P site and one is present on the A site. So peptide bond formation is going to take place between these two and a dipeptide is going to form. Again third one will come, a tripeptide will form. Again a fourth amino acid will come, and this is how the polypeptide chain will be elongated. So what happens in elongation? There is continuous formation of peptide bonds between amino acids, and polypeptide chain will elongate. More the number of amino acids, larger will be the chain. This is how elongation is taking place. Now let's talk about the steps that are taking place in the process of elongation. The first step in elongation is codon recognition. Codon recognition. It simply means that the new tRNA that is coming is going to read the codon that is present on mRNA. That means this new tRNA is having the anticodons for the codon present on mRNA, and the specific amino acid will be binded on the 3' end of the tRNA. Let's understand this situation. This is the smaller subunit. Larger subunit is lying. I am just making a gap to make you understand. Here mRNA is present. Suppose this is the mRNA. This is the 5' end of mRNA and this is the 3' end of mRNA. Here the start codon is there, A, U, G, and this is the next codon, say C, C, U is there. Next codon. Now this is the P site where already the initiator tRNA has binded. This is the initiator tRNA which is having this anticodon loop, and over here methionine is present. Now this is the empty A site. So the new tRNA that is going to come should have anticodon for this codon, and it is going to combine a specific amino acid, and this specific amino acid will be coded by this codon. So here another tRNA is going to come. It will be GGA. This is the anticodon that will be present for this codon, and a amino acid, say proline, is present over here. So this is codon recognition. This tRNA has recognized this codon because anticodons are present for this codon, and it is going to bring a amino acid. So this is what codon recognition is there. So the thing you have to remember is that the initiator tRNA is going to come and bind on the P site. Later on, the amino, whether 100 amino acids are coming or more amino acids are coming, the tRNA is always going to come and bind with the A site, and this is a energy consuming process. In this process, GTP is going to hydrolyze and it is going to provide energy. We have talked about one energy consuming process already. When activation of amino acid take place, their ATP is being consumed. The second energy is consumed when codon recognition takes place, means when new tRNA is going to bind with the A site. At that time also one GTP is hydrolyzed. This is codon recognition. Now another step after codon recognition, what is going to happen? Peptide bond formation. Now peptide bond will be formed, and in our previous classes we have talked about peptide bonds. So peptide bond is going to form between these two amino acids. The COH group of first amino acid is going to form peptide bond with the amino group of second amino acid. So these two amino acids will be involved in the process of peptide bond formation. So let's talk about the process of peptide bond formation, how it is taking place. What happens during the peptide bond formation? During peptide bond formation, this methionine is going to detach from this tRNA and it is going to come here over proline. So, and going to form a peptide bond. So, this is methionine. Proline was already there, and now here methionine is not present. What earlier was, methionine was present at P site, proline was present at A site. During peptide bond formation, this methionine which was present on P site formed peptide bond with the proline and it is shifted on the A site. Now this tRNA is containing a dipeptide and this one is empty. Here no amino acid is present. Now this tRNA is uncharged tRNA. So this is how peptide bond is forming. This reaction, the formation of peptide bond, is catalyzed by an enzyme that is peptidyl transferase, and here energy is not consumed. So the enzyme that is responsible for the catalyzation of peptide bond formation between these two amino acids is peptidyl transferase. Now what this peptidyl transferase is, it is not just like other enzymes. It is the rRNA that is present in the larger subunit. When we talked about the rRNAs that are present in larger and smaller subunit, in eukaryotes 28S rRNA is there in larger subunit, and in prokaryotes it's 23S rRNA. So it is the rRNA, whether it is 28S or 23S rRNA, that is behaving as a enzyme and that is catalyzing a reaction. So because it is a RNA and it is involved in the catalyzation of a reaction, means it is behaving as an enzyme, that's why it is known as ribozyme. So ribozyme simply means when a RNA molecule is behaving as a enzyme. So peptidyl transferase is rRNA that is present in larger subunit of the ribosome, but here it is catalyzing a reaction, that is peptide bond formation. So we are calling it as a ribozyme, and here no energy is consumed. So this is how peptide bond formation is taking place. This is the first amino acid, say amino acid 1. This is amino acid 2. Again third amino acid will come. So amino acid third will be added. So this is how peptide bond formation is taking place. Now the next step, the third step in elongation is translocation. What translocation means? Translocation simply means translocating or changing position. This position is being changed by the ribosome. So this ribosome is going to shift from here. This ribosome is going to shift, and because of shifting of this ribosome, what will happen? This start codon is going to come here. The second codon is again going to come here, and over here, this is the A site, the third codon will come. So because of this shifting of ribosome in this direction, the third codon is going to come in the A site. This is going to move in the E site. This is going to enter into the P site, and again the A site will be empty. So let's see how this situation is happening. Again the smaller subunit, and over it the larger subunit is placed, and over here the mRNA is present. This mRNA is having codons. So earlier AVUG was present here at the P site. Now because of the translocation of this ribosome, this is the AUG, this is the CCU, that was the second codon, and over here say AUC, the third codon is present. Here the empty tRNA is going to come. This is the empty one. It was having UAC. Here the tRNA is present, that is carrying the two amino acids, say GGC, and over here proline and methionine are present. So it has shifted now. Now again this A site is vacant, and now this A site is going to receive another tRNA that is containing the anticodon for this particular codon, and same thing, the 3' end is going to carry a amino acid. It's UAG, and here a amino acid is present, say alanine is present. I am just writing ALA. So the third one is alanine. Fine, this is how translocation is taking place, and the movement of mRNA is again from 5' to 3' direction. As the ribosome is going to move, this mRNA is moving in 5' to 3' direction, and during the translocation of ribosome, always remember each and every codon is going to come at the A site, and this single ribosome is having the ability to help in the addition of all the amino acids. It is going to read all the codons that are present on the mRNA, and all the amino acids will be added to a polypeptide chain. Again, now what happened? This dipeptide is going to break from here. It is going to form peptide bond. So proline, methionine, and they are going to remove from here. And this one thing I would have tell you earlier, this empty one, when a new this tRNA is going to attach at this A site, this is going to leave from the E site. This is empty, so it is going to move out. When ribosome is translocating, at that time the empty tRNA is going to move out. So it is not present over here. It has left from the E site, and now it is available in the cytoplasm to bind with another specific amino acid. Now this is the polypeptide chain formed. When this tRNA came here, again one GTP was hydrolyzed. Now this is the situation. Again this ribosome is going to translocate. This is going to come at the E site. It will move out. This is going to come at the P site carrying this elongated polypeptide chain, and A site will again be empty for the new tRNA. So this is how the process is continuously taking place. The ribosomes are translocated on the mRNA strand, and because of this translocation, peptide bond formation is continuously elongated, and the process continues up to where? Up to the point at which there is signal of termination present, and the signal of termination will be provided by the stop codons that will be present on the 3' end of the mRNA. So let's talk about the process of termination. The last step is termination. So termination will occur when any of the stop codon will be present, and the stop codons will be UAG, UGA or UAA. So these are the stop codons that are present. What happens during the translocation of ribosome? If the A site is going to come at a stop codon, means the larger subunit, the smaller subunit, mRNA is there, and suppose here UAG is present, and this is the A site. So when the active A site is going to come at the stop codon, there is no tRNA available in the cell that is going to have anticodons for this stop codon. Not even a single tRNA is present. That means no tRNA is going to come for this stop codon. No amino acid will be added for this stop codon. So if no amino acid is going to be added, that means further elongation of polypeptide chain will not take place. And if further elongation is not taking place, this process has to be stopped over here. So for this stop codon, various releasing factors RF1, RF2, RF3, these are releasing factors. These releasing factors are going to come and bind with the A site. And what these releasing factors are going to do? These releasing factors are going to add a water molecule in the polypeptide chain, and this water molecule will break the chain from the tRNA, and now the polypeptide chain will be free and it will move out of this P site, and there will be termination of the process of translation. When the termination of process of translations happen, then what happens? This smaller subunit is going to separate from the larger subunit. The releasing factors will also move out. The mRNA will be separated. So all the subunits which combined during the process of initiation, they all are going to separate when the process of termination will take place, and we will get our polypeptide. A newly formed polypeptide will be present. And how this newly formed polypeptide will be there? Now this newly formed polypeptide is having a primary structure. Means it is a linear chain of amino acids. It is not properly matured or functional. Just a linear chain of amino acid has been formed. Now further modifications will be done in this polypeptide chain. Modifications may be some of the amino acids which are not required maybe will be removed out with the help of peptidases. These amino acids will be removed. There will be more coiling, or you can say folding of proteins. If quaternary structure will be formed, then this polypeptide chain is going to form quaternary structure with other polypeptide chains, or it singly is going to fold up, and various proteins are helping in its folding like chaperones. So chaperones are the proteins which helps in the proper folding of polypeptide chain, and after proper folding, this becomes a functional protein that will be going to perform a function in a cell. So we have seen in earlier classes also, this polypeptide chain is going to pass into the lumen of endoplasmic reticulum, then it will be transferred to the Golgi bodies where its further modification is taking place, and then it will be transported to the site where it has to function. So this is how a polypeptide chain is formed, and later on it will be modified into a fully functional structure and it will start performing a function. So this is about translation, that is protein synthesis. How protein is synthesized by the information that is present on the mRNA strand in form of codons. Now one question arises from here is, why protein synthesis is taking place in cytoplasm? Because we know DNA is present inside the nucleus and DNA is having the information for protein synthesis. Then why not protein synthesis is taking place inside the nucleus? Or why it is not, the whole process is not taking place inside the cytoplasm? Because we know that transcription, mRNA is going to form inside the nucleus, then this mRNA is going to come out and proteins are going to form into the cytoplasm. See, cytoplasm is having all the raw materials. If we talk about cytoplasm, then all the raw materials are present in cytoplasm, like ribonucleotides are there, ribosomes are present in the cytoplasm. So raw material is present over here. But if DNA that is present in nucleus is going to come out, that will be affected by the enzymes that are present in the cytoplasm. So a cell cannot afford this DNA to move out of the nucleus. And if this whole process is going to take place inside the nucleus, then the raw materials are not present inside the cytoplasm. So because of the protection of DNA and providing all the raw materials, half of the process is taking place inside the nucleus and other half of the process is taking place inside the cytoplasm. So this is all about the important topics: DNA replication, transcription and translation. Next we will start with another next topic of this chapter.